What's going on, everybody? Judd here with Asphalt Kingdom, and I am super excited to be here yet again with my good buddy, who I've developed a fantastic relationship. We've developed a great relationship over the years, and just excited to hop on here and do some catch up and hopefully inspire you to do better at what you do every single day. Rob McKenzie, Black Max Asphalt Services, man, it is so good to be here again with you. Appreciate you being on.
Hey, Judd. Yeah, great to be on with you again. I love doing these. So seeing you, and it's always fun jamming.
It is fun. It is fun jamming. So obviously we're doing a catch up. For those of you, by the way, that don't know Rob McKenzie, I'll let him introduce himself on his own there. But I'll tell you, he's actually a guy that inspires me more than he knows. His positivity is unmatched. He's always coming up with this positive energy, no matter where we are, and certainly being a guiding light. And I think that stems tremendously from what he spent a lot of time over the last several decades doing, which is teaching. And so along the teaching path, Rob's built Black Max Asphalt Services, and it is a growing company. And I know that Rob has probably some more to chime in on there, but Rob, man, thank you for having a positive influence in my life, and congratulations on the growth and success of your business from the ground up.
Yeah, thanks. When you say being a positive influence on you, that inspires me more, because from what kind of energy I've gotten from you and the people around you, it's tremendous, right? And it makes me who I am that way. And if I can give that back, then that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's the pay it forward movement and lighthouse. Actually, I just, believe it or not, got a tattoo earlier in the week. I'll show it to you, but it's a lighthouse right there with a big clock in the background, and it's just that's kind of what I stand for. And I know that our team, the community that we've developed, we'll touch on that in a little bit, but man, it's really, like, for the people watching right now, it's not, I say this often, more so now than I ever have, it's not about the equipment and supplies that creates the success. It's about the true belief and conviction in what it is that you're going to go out to set up to do, that ultimately is the important part of this. Who you surround yourself with, the plan, your game plan. What is it that you're executing on from a marketing perspective, a sales perspective? Are you speaking the language? And really that whole feeling of not being just alone trying to figure this all out. So maybe, Rob, you can touch on that a little bit, because I know that when you first started in the industry, you were on your own, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, just I guess a little bit of background, about 4 years ago, I guess now, I started this business, and it was something that was very matter of fact. It just started out very quickly. I was doing my driveway, right? I was sealing it, and a neighbor came by and they said, "Wow, like, how much do you mind?" And the wheels something just clicked. And it's like, I got to do this, right? And I don't know, I can't explain it any more than that. It was like this instant energy to kind of just start and try to do this. But the problem that I had was figuring out where all this stuff is, right? How do I find this equipment? How do I could go online and I could, watch your videos, which I did. And obviously that's how we came to be here. But I just started to figure out the question I had was, where do I find this stuff? Right. And that was the hardest problem. And I didn't have the AK round table, and I didn't have, people to talk to. I didn't have these service partners that I'd built over the last, 3-4 years that I can call on and say, hey, let's do this together. Or how do we do this? And, how can we partner on this thing? And then you learn from those people as you're going along, and you're teaching them. And, it's kind of a symbiotic kind of relationship. It's going back and forth, and you're just growing together. Right. But yeah, in the very beginning, and to anyone out there that's kind of listening, there's so much support once you find it. Right.
When you find it, that's interesting. And so the lighthouse analogy that I'll use, which I just showed a tattoo of, is that when you're lost at sea, when you're out there and you're in a rowboat spinning around in circles and unsure of the direction that you need to go, the chance of you finding a level of comfort, a level of guidance, and a level of strength to get to where you want to go is very difficult to feel. And so when a lighthouse turns on and you're in the rowboat, and all of a sudden there's this guiding light, the question becomes, is that light the right light? Is that something that I am certain with the utmost belief and conviction that I need to follow in order to get to where I want to go? Or is that light maybe guiding me a little bit improperly? And so what I strongly recommend for people who are listening right now is that you definitely, as Rob said, is that when you really are out as the buyer looking for the right light, make sure that you're feeling it, not just doing it because maybe one person has said something out there, but do your research and find out. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Rob, like finding that light, finding that guidance that was the right fit for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think before we had met and before I kind of discovered Asphalt Kingdom and such, and I'd reached out to a few other people, and you know, there is a negativity that's out there. There's a sense of keeping those ideas to oneself and not providing any help or direction when questions are asked. And it's like, and that's that kind of feeling where it's not the right direction, right? You don't trust that avenue, right? And then along the way, and this just, you know, kudos back to you. Of course, it's when we reached out, and when I reached out and we talked, it was this instant positive kind of approach to things. And it's here, I'm here to help, right? What can I do? And it's not about, it wasn't about buying products from you. It wasn't about business. Is about how can we help you grow, right? And that's all people need, I think. And in big business, when you have big corporations, it's very difficult, I think, to find those people to reach out to. But this is very unique, I think, in what you have at Asphalt Kingdom and your whole staff has developed is this uniqueness to listen to people that are growing and helping them grow and feeling that there's a support network there for you. And I don't think many businesses really do that, you know, and it's a forward thinking, progressive approach to business. And I think more businesses really need to do this, right? But I just, it was a no-brainer, right? You know, I started the business on my own and kind of fumbled around, although I think I was pretty good at it from the very beginning. I still fumbled around trying to look for answers, but I didn't have that immediate go-to to say, I got this question and I need that answer right away. And, you know, and how many times did I, you know, text you and bug you for answers, maybe, and then what you probably thought was simple answers at the time, but for me and for anybody that's brand new, it's like, you have no idea. And you need that simple answer just so you get that clarification, right? So that component being part of your business, which is a huge part, allows you to grow smoothly and at the pace that you need to grow at.
It's such a good point, man. And thank you so much for that. Like that is why we do what we do, truly, because of what you just said. And we desire to have that come from as many possible people as we can, because then we're doing our job the way that we really, really need to be doing it. Because if we can commit to solving those problems and pain points and help provide guidance, then the result is more success for the people we're working with. Mm-hmm. And so we win when people that we've helped or helped guide are successful. That's when we win. We don't win on a sale of a piece of equipment or supplies. We do, but it's not the true win. The true win is being on here, having this conversation and having you say that to other people who may be considering getting into the industry, because our mission as part of our company flywheel, and every one of us should definitely have a flywheel. What keeps our business truly in motion? What fuels it? What fires it? Comes back to, in our case, the more evangelists that we build, the more people that promote us because they've experienced the result of success from the interactions and engagement framework that we've helped teach. Then we've created the win, which is creating an evangelist. And so thank you for that. That's huge. And for people watching, like, that's how interested we are in having you be a part of the community. We're not interested in having you buy a piece of equipment, because that's not going to get you to where you want to go. You really need to be part of something where you don't have to be afraid or ashamed to ask questions, where you can truly be yourself and be committed to a path of discipline and determination to get to where you want to go. Like, for me, that's it. We all have dreams and aspirations, but when you're a part of a community of people that are like-minded and geared towards positivity, your dreams and aspirations may change. And I know that certainly with you, Rob, and the AK Roundtable and the community that we've built together, my dreams and aspirations have changed just from being a part of this community. And so thank you. In regards to Black Max Seal Coating, let's get into some nitty gritty. A year of growth?
Absolutely. It was 100% growth, and probably a little bit more, right?
3 years in business? Yeah,
3 full years now. So, and it's doubled each year, right? And that's, and really, I mean, that's working May and June sort of part-time, and then July and August while I'm off, having this luxurious teacher life, as everybody talks about, going full bore pretty much, with some time off still, and through July and August, and then into September, and slowing it down in October. Right. And it's, and that was just sort of, now I've touched on a little more than touched on the commercial market. And we talked last year about, I'm kind of hesitant about, reaching out to these businesses. And now it's, once you do it, it's just become second nature. And it's just like talking. And I guess that was my hesitancy, right? It was I was so confident talking to residential owners and having long conversations about asphalt and just building those solid relationships and rapport, right? And it was just like talking to parents, really, for me as a teacher. It's very easy to do. But the business side, for some reason, the commercial part, for some reason in my head, it was stuck that it was going to be something different. Right. And it's really not. And once I got my head around that, and I just started reaching out, and it's very easy. So that commercial end of it has grown. And
I'm smiling so hard because I remember our conversation. Like, I genuinely remember our conversations about this.
Yeah. So I think our biggest job was 120,000 square feet, and then 77,000, and even the amount of work, and word of mouth is such a powerful thing, right? And if people like the work that you're doing, they're going to tell so many more people. And so it's just, and now it's sort of moving away from some of these smaller kind of jobs. I'll still do them, absolutely. But when I get that 20,000 square foot driveway that comes in, I'm doing that one before I'm doing the 200 or the 500 square foot one, right? So these kind of jobs start coming in more and more too. And when typically it's when you're talking to people that have very large driveways, they have friends with very large driveways and business owners, and so it just goes on, it snowballs. And I'm starting to see that part happening in the commercial aspect of it now too. So very excited for next year and what comes.
What would you say What is it that you like about owning your own business the most?
It's unlike, very unlike, in a way it's like teaching, but in a way it's not. One, you're in a classroom and you're on your own. So you're your own boss in a way, but you're tied to an organization. Owning your own business, you're not tied to anything. You're on your own to make your own decisions, to make your own mistakes, to make your own fixes of those. And that, I think, is that empowers you as a business owner to have your own go at it, right? You don't have anybody else telling you how to do it, when to do it. You don't have politics involved in that business, right? You run it the way you feel like you want to run it. You run it at the fastest or slowest pace that you want to. You get out of it what you put in, right? And it's very rewarding. It's more rewarding than I think anything I've ever done. And I think it's even, teaching as rewarding as it is, and being around and changing and helping young people, grow. I think this is even more rewarding than that, because you're seeing something that you yourself have built from just an idea to something to where it is now. And it's creating a second type of lifestyle.
Amazing. What is the number one best decision that you made for Black Max this year? If you were going to put it at the top on the podium, the best decision that you made this year for the business?
It was spending some time, and I didn't knock on a ton of commercial doors, but rather it was emails that I sent out. So I spent a lot of time sending out tens and tens, maybe 70, 80, 90 emails to different companies, right? Car dealerships, churches, funeral homes, various organizations where, in the local area, and getting your responses back. And I think that helped take off that commercial end of it, right? With some help from some good literature from Asphalt Kingdom, right? To build a proper type of looking email and pull it all together so people had education. They had a wherewithal of who I was, why we're doing this, and how it can benefit their business, their parking lot, the look of it, the safety of it, right? And so I think really spending some time in the winter, putting out a lot of emails to businesses, really spearheaded that, right? I've always been kind of tried to be active on social media, and I know it's kind of, it's a little bit rough around the edges when I do it, but
you're awesome. I love your social, brother. Like, and for you watching right now, check out Black Max, like on Facebook, on social. I mean, full out Rob does an amazing job. I'm giving you full kudos on that, man. Like, you've stepped up your game big time. The videos, the selfie videos. I mean, you're doing it, and it's that's why you're successful, is because you're doing the stuff that works. And when you do the stuff that works, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think you find a niche, right? You find something that works well for you. And it's funny, the first time I put the director's view on my phone and I started videotaping myself and trying to explain what I was doing, I'm thinking, man, this is corny. But I kept trying to do it. I continue to try and build the verboseness, I guess, because sometimes I feel I'm not giving enough information when I try to put out these social media ads, right? And I'm trying to draw in that business naturally, but I think, okay, I got to build more of this. I need more of a script. I need to educate people more. I think that just comes from a natural place that I've been doing for the last, 28 years. And so it's like, it's not good enough. I got to do it better. Right? But it's fun. Like, I like doing it. I probably wouldn't do it if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
There's things about business that I don't really like to do, right? It's like the accounting part, the organization, keeping my slips and all. Like I need someone to do that. But the social media stuff and going out and working hard and doing that, I mean, that's I think that's the key to business success. The other things you can find people to do it, right?
It's awesome, man. What would be your number one biggest challenge that you were faced with this year with Black Max?
Well, again, I think it was so a couple of things, I guess. One was continuing to grow that commercial end of it, right? And being hesitant of knocking on doors, right? Going to a business, knocking on the door, walking up to, finding out, is it an operations manager? Is it a salesperson? Is it the GM? Is it the
owner? Right.
Right? Who do you talk to? How do you find them? And waiting around and explaining. When people call me to do work, I'm fantastic, right? And because I know that they want something done. And
right.
I'm in a position, I don't want to say position of power, but it's a position where I'm confident what I'm saying is going to get to them. But when I have to reach out to someone who has no idea that I'm coming, that's where I kind of have the tendency to go, okay, I got to look confident, right? So it's that initial spark or that initial engagement with someone. And then once you start, it's okay, but it's that initial engagement of trying to explain who you are, why you're here, and what I can do for you, right? Because those things are always taken care of when people contact you. Those three things are already taken care of, right? They know.
I'm smiling at this. This is good stuff,
right? So, and I think most people are probably going to agree that that's a challenge, right? Not everyone's a natural salesperson. I'm not a natural salesperson, right? But I have to.
I love that you're saying this. I love that you're saying this, brother. Natural salesperson. This is awesome, right? I have so many people that I coach, a lot of people that I'm coaching right now. I'm not a natural gifted salesperson. I just want to do the work in the field. I just don't know how to sell. Say that one more time. I don't know how to sell. Of course, you're not a naturally gifted salesperson. You've never really sold. Well, what happens if there was a extremely well-defined sales process? Mm-hmm. Or as a lot of my friends say, process. What if that was really well-defined? What if it was like we were speaking about on the roundtable about the closer framework? Mm-hmm. Clarifying why people are there, labeling them with a problem, overviewing their past pains, selling them the vacation, explaining away their concerns and reinforcing their decision. What if it was genetically programmed, not genetically, but coded into their brain? And they studied that, and then they really truly understood what questions that they needed to ask in order to bring people along that closer framework. What if they actually practiced that with other people in their organization every single day, just for 15 or 20 minutes? What if there was role practicing? Like some people say role playing, I call it role practice. What if that was going on? Then all of a sudden, that hesitation, which Rob, I know for a fact that you've sat in your truck before contemplating whether or not you should walk up to that door and actually attempt to sell them. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's right between here, right? And most people have that.
Yep. And so my hope is that for anybody watching right now, if you fear or you're not a natural born salesperson, just because you haven't got the process, I strongly recommend that you spend some time with us to be able to trigger some of the ideas and perspective around sales and how you become an ultimate sales machine. That ultimate sales machine, by the way, that was awesome. Breed by Chet Holmes. That was awesome. But when you become an ultimate sales machine, you are not selling money. You are selling problem solving solutions and over delivering on the value that creates the trust and lifelong relationships. Then when you've practiced that, you no longer sit in the truck wondering whether or not you should go knock on the door. So you're that hurdle I get, Rob, because I remember I used to sit there literally in the truck and look at a car dealership or look at a big commercial plaza that was like 300,000 square feet. And I'd be like, that's just too big for me right now. I'm not even going to try.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because I lacked the belief and conviction because I hadn't practiced enough. I wanted to get that out.
Yeah. And it's like everything in life, right? You're like, I've talked about this with you before, and I love this quote, and I was giving it to one of the kids today in my class because they're writing quotes on their board. And I said, I got a great one, right? This is my favorite. You have to be uncomfortable to feel comfortable, right? It's just a natural process of how we learn things, right? First day I stepped into a classroom, I was nervous as heck standing in front of kids thinking, right? Because I'd never done it before. And it's like second nature now. It's just a no-brainer. And that's where that's the progression that people I think forget about in growth, is that you have to be uncomfortable, right? Before you can become comfortable with it, right? You have to endure that bit of stress, that bit of anxiety that comes along with something that is new in order to make it common and just normal. Right.
I love having conversations with you. I love it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most likely, 10 being the most likely, how much do you believe that your business will continue to grow? 0 being not likely, 10 being most likely.
10, most likely. I know.
With the belief and conviction, full belief and conviction.
Yeah. Because I think I've had enough success so far doing it in the I don't want to say part-time, because it's more of a full-time job than teaching is now. Right. But I think just with the positive energy that I get from customers that I have, recurring customers, new people that reach out, Google reviews, those kind of things, they just ramp it up for you, right? It's a built-in security system in a way, and it just makes you want to go forward and go more, right? I mean, if you had it's like anything, again, if you've had a bunch of negative experiences, you're going to have a tendency to avoid, right? Have avoidance behavior, right? But if everything is positive and it's growing and it's working, there's no avoiding, right? You're just moving forward. So I've been fortunate, I think, and maybe it's just the way I've thought through things and been as meticulous as I could with jobs that I do, that I've had very little of need to have avoidance behavior. Right.
Interesting answer.
Yeah.
The 0 to 10 right away.
Yeah,
interesting answer.
I don't
That's
know
before we came on to do this jam, we were speaking about something. So just remember the 10 that you just stated. And I know that you know it. But so how proud is your family of you for building this thing? Honestly.
Well, I think my son was maybe a little bit skeptical at the very beginning, but he came out with me the first year. The second year, he had a bunch of things to do in the summer. He came out a little bit. I had somebody else working with me. And then last year, he worked with me all summer long. And I think he kind of really sees the growth. And I asked him straight up at the very beginning of the year. And I said, do you want to work? Where do you want to work in the summer? He had a job at a grocery store. I said, do you want to work there? Or did you want to work for me? He said, I'd rather work for you. So I was like, it was a nice win. It was a nice win that way, right? So yeah, and I mean, my wife Gina, she's been super supportive, right? She gets a little crazy when I decide the next thing I'm going to do, when I've just started one thing, and the brain's going, it's like, well, what am I going to do next? What am I going to add to this, right? And she goes, why can't you just focus on one thing and then get it done? And it's like, no, I've got this done. Now I got to move on to the next thing. you know, you know what that's like. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, you just
totally.
kind of, you're out, the wheels are always turning, and what you're gonna do next, right? But yeah, so she's been super supportive. She's doing some of the bookkeeping for me, and which I'm terrible at, right? Absolutely horrible, and I hate it. So she's been
Me too.
it's
Me
good.
too. The accounting and bookkeeping and everything else, I'm not all too excited about. I like looking at the bank account balances.
Yes, I know. Yeah, isn't that, I know.
It's
Can't
great,
wait to get that money in the bank, right? When you get that check, right?
right? Man, this is awesome. I know that people watching appreciate this very much. We are, by the way, there are more and more teachers that are reaching out to us, and I think there's a variety of reasons why, but certainly your videos that are out there are inspiring people, and so the Pay It Forward movement and inspiring people to. I just love the fact that there's so many people out there that are not just selfishly looking at their own jar, but really, really helping other people all over and building better lives for themselves. And so thank you for being one of those people, Rob.
Absolutely. I mean, it all starts, I mean, it all started with you, right? You're the one that inspired so many people. And I think it's just natural for people to learn that pay it forward kind of mantra, right? And that you want to help other people. And I think if you have a little bit of that positivity to begin with, it's just so much easier just to roll with it, right? Like we were talking on the roundtable, I think before, maybe just individually before, about some, you know, other groups that you just get so much bashing that goes on in these groups. And you know, part of the AK roundtable, nobody does that, and there's no need for it, right? Because we're all in it for one goal, to grow and learn from each other. And so why, you know, why show that negativity, right? It just doesn't work. So
There's that piece right there for me is such an important, it's the values that I live by, like the core values that I live by are those. I genuinely desire not to be plugged into negativity or anything that's venomous that is going to hold me back from working towards my dream, my goal, my mission.
mm-hmm.
And there are people out there that will try to chop at your legs and they'll try to drag you down, but I've got some good armor on, and I'm powering forward. And I know that the whole team that was working together in our communities to really bring that positivity and that light to this industry is growing in fast numbers, very fast numbers. You look at Brian Hess Top Contractor School, you look at us at Asphalt Kingdom, you look at the communities, you and the people, and everything that's taking shape right now, and that's what's going to be the magnetic force that will drive this industry to be better. So yeah, I'm super excited with what's on the horizon. What's on the horizon for Black Max 2023, and then we'll wrap things up. Appreciate this whole hour that you spent with us.
Absolutely. Love. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Judd. Absolutely.
What's in the plan for 2023? Continuous growth.
I know that was a question.
Yeah.
2012, you know, what we talked about, I have to decide on moving forward, and just, you know, trying to continue with the quality service that I think we provide to everybody. Staying as organized as possible, maybe building some more professional kind of social media content, maybe more consistent content to make sure that those algorithms are working as well as possible, right? And you know, hopefully have my son work with me again this summer, and hopefully he can take over a few little areas that he wasn't quite comfortable with this year. And he's done so much, I can almost leave him on his own now to do work, right? And so, yeah, I think it's, and then I've always had this bit of a vision, because I mean, there's so many people my age, and at 57, I feel like a very young 57, but I mean, there's so many people that are moving towards retiring, and they're in good shape. They have great attitudes. They still want to work, right? But maybe they want something a little bit different. And I always see this little bit of a vision of using some of my contacts of people that I know have been in, say, teaching for a long period of time. They're good people, they're hardworking people, they're fit people, and getting them part of the business, and sort of, providing some responsibilities that they can do as, one aspect of Black Max, right? So that's kind of this idea I've had in the back of my head, where I can kind of,
It's awesome.
keep these competent people in charge of areas, right?
Smart.
So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm going, and hopefully get down and see you.
Yes, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Definitely. Let's get that on the calendar. Would love that. So basically, and to recap, Rob ends up going to do his own driveway, believes that there's an opportunity in driveway sealing area, starts Black Max Asphalt Services 3 years ago, builds the company, 100% growth year over year, and now into followed framework and strategies that were shared, continued to grow and scale the business, believed in his success in year 2 enough to go into year 3. Year 3 hits, even more belief and conviction, because he penetrates the commercial marketplace and starts closing bigger jobs, and now ranks with 0 out of 10, 0 being the least likely and 10 being the most likely, that his company is going to grow into 2023 without a doubt. And here we are right now sharing this all with you. So if you have a dream and a belief, and you may want or desire something that's a little bit more than what you have right now, please let Rob's story shine light on that. We are all here for you. You can join us on the AK Roundtable on Facebook every Wednesday at 7 p.m. coming up actually in 2 hours.
I won't be there. I have to curl.
Oh, you have to curl. Go curl. Well, you'll see the recording, or we'll see you next week. Yeah. But our communities are right here for you. You're not alone. We are here to guide you through the process of building, managing, marketing, and growing your business. And really, that's all at your fingertips. So hopefully we get the opportunity to interact, engage, comment, like all this video, the works, how it goes, and then subscribe to the channel as well. Rob, any last words for somebody watching? Any last words?
If you're thinking about it, and it's something you can't get off your mind, do it. It's I think if I can do it, right, I think anybody can do it. You have so many good people around you just by being here and listening to this. And anyone you reach out to, whether it's me or Judd or anybody else in the round table, they all have the same attitude. They're all there to help. Right. So you have that support. And I think so many people starting out their own business don't feel they have support, but this is an area that you do. And, it's a no-brainer, I think. Right. So, yeah.
Do it. Cool.
Do it.
All right, Rob, appreciate you, man. Say hi to the family, and we'll talk to you soon for sure. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your schedule to do this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Judd. Appreciate it.
All right, okay. Cool. Catch up soon.
Yeah.
Take care, brother. See you. Bye.